Morning guys, hopefully you can hear me alright there. See if I can get myself with. Maybe not. Just trying to get the shadow out of my face. So welcome back again to 49. So we're almost at the 50 mark of the doing this, but that's what you're doing it every day. So I'm still working on that front balance. I've got a little bit of radiusing to do just to finish off around that bar that goes around the front, and a little bit more grinding and clean up, and probably just a few little spots of welding to do. I'm almost sort of done there, fortunately. So once I got that done, I'm going to put the grill sheet on, put the front guards back on, and then just make sure all that fits nicely. Work out what I need to do to the front guards or fenders to make them fit. I've got to drill the holes in the those running board balance piece that goes down the side. None of that's been drilled or whatever. So I'm going to go through and finish all that sort of stuff. And then I'll probably, not today, but in the next couple of days, once I've sort of finished doing all that stuff and doing some hammer and dolling on the guards, which might take a couple of 3 days, then I'll start playing around with the linkages and brackets and bits and pieces in around the engine, just to make sure everything's there, and we'll get all those little bits worked out, so we'll get into it. Righty guys, so I think I'm almost done here. I'm really happy with how these clearance around here now. That's what I was worried about. It was pushing down on those, and that's what was breaking this out. So I've clearanced them, both sides. That looks all pretty good. What I want to do is I want to take a little bit out of here at the top and just widen it so it's a bit more balanced. it's not quite balanced in this hole. Apart from that, I think everything else is okay. I'm just going to sit the grill shell back in there before I pull it back out. Hopefully for the last time before I sit it back in there and leave it in there for a while. But I'll put the fenders and everything back on before I slip it in place. Yeah, so I'll do that, but I want to sit the grill shell in there and just make sure that I don't want to tweak anything else. Now, I could grind these down nice and flat and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think I'm going to panic, because every time I do that and try and get it nice, I'm taking out a steel further out all the time, and I've played with it so much I don't want to make it, it's getting thin now as it is, because I've reworked it and chopped it and done other stuff. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of extra meat in there, and like a smear body filler and everything down there. You're never going to see it anyway, and I'll body work the back of it as well, so it's nice. So it's not going to matter. You're never going to see it. It's not as though it's big, huge, big, thick, ugly welds. It's just, I want to leave a little bit extra in there for some strength. Same on the other side. And look, I've left quite a bit of welding behind here too. I haven't ground it right off. I've just cleaned the worst of the top off it, and made it sort of reasonable. So yeah, I'll come along, because the chest rail line comes here, I can come along here and I can put a bit of body filler in behind there and just make it look nice. So if it's taken off and on at some point, it's not big ugly welds in there. So I'll dress it up and clean it all up and make it look good when it's finished. I'm not going to get as fussy on the inside as I am the outside, but I'll get it fairly nice. I'll get it really, really close, blow a couple of 3 good coats of high build on there and smooth it out, and as long as it looks fairly good, I'm not going to go panicking, but yeah, the outside will make it look really nice. But yeah, I'll just do a final fitment for this grill shell, see if this is where these things need to be. I might actually do a few measurements and just make sure it's right. Mainly I'll just go backwards and forwards and crisscross it just to make sure it's square. I haven't got the guards in here, so I can't do the final and drill holes, but yeah, we're getting closer to that too, so that's cool. But yeah, so I'll get that in there now. I think we'll be okay. It's not sitting dead square in here at the moment, but I probably need to get everything else in there. The hood side on and all that sort of stuff, piece it fully together and then work out the final position. But it's reasonable. It looks like it's sitting centre down here, right? So it's just probably a little bit of play work once we've got everything on. Make sure that we can get it in the right spot. I may be able to use just a couple of these underneath here too. And refit the guards, I think. Play around with it. Come back here when I've got all that back on. Right again, guys. So I've just got back from lunch. I sort of pieced this stuff together before, and I was about to sandblast, or just I want to lightly sandblast over that those hood sides and top and everything again. Because I just started cleaning some of that stuff up before, so I can get it back on here. because it's sort of been sitting for a couple of days. A couple of pieces I hadn't cleaned off fully, almost sort of, well, I just need to sandblast back around all the hinge points and stuff like that, just to get rid of all the residue and shit. So I got to do that before I can put them back on. So I got everything back on here pretty much, apart from I just want to test fit those sides and get all that sort of stuff. I did put some little rubber, I did put these underneath the grill shell, but yeah, it doesn't look right. Pulls all that all out of centre and all that sort of stuff out of the thing, so obviously it's all just hard mounted down. So you want to get all the rest of that, everything on, get all the gaps right, just make sure that where these holes are going to be where they are, and then I'll mark them, and I'll drill a slightly bigger hole, so at least when we put it in, you got a little bit of wiggle room backwards and forwards and whatever, maybe just slop them slightly, so at least you got a little bit of jiggle backwards and forwards for when you're trying to get everything lined up when it's obviously all finished and painted together. And then once I've done that and happy with all that, then I'll start getting into this stuff and actually making all this shit fit properly, because when they put a new bottom on here and it's cocked round, so I've got a lot of stuff to fix in this and knock a lot of these dents out. I've got to re-drill that hole, get that fitting properly, and then I've got to do all those holes here. See, like none of this fits properly, it's all too long, so that all needs trimmed off. So if it needs trimmed off, and then needs the holes drilled and obviously all set up so it fits, and obviously do anything else to any other bits and pieces along here. But yeah, so I'll get that cleaned up, try and get those pieces back on here today before I have to bugger off in an hour or so, and hopefully tomorrow I can get into hammer dolly work on this stuff, and obviously cleaning, get the final clean up on all these and getting all those bits fitting nicely. I might at some point have a look at that bloody steering thing too, see if I can get that looking right, because it's queer, and it's sort of, when you look at things, it throws you off because it's got so much toe in, because it's got like 4 inches of toe in. So but anyway, we'll carry on and come back to you shortly. Oh, I've got the one hood side temporary on. I've only got a couple of these little screws in it. What I'll do tomorrow, because there was only a couple in each side when I started pulling it apart, so I'll have a quick look at home tonight when I get a chance, see if there's a few more of those. Otherwise we'll get some, because we need obviously quite a few, but it'd be nice just to have more than 2 in there, if we can put even 4 or 5 or something like that in there, just to, so it's not playing around. But I think I've got this hinge in the wrong way. I think it needs to be turned around, because I can't get this gap right, if you know what I mean. I think it's meant to be around the other way, but that's all good. It's a simple fix. I just got to unscrew it and spin it around. I wasn't sure which way around it went, but it's holding it back, as you can see. But yeah, that's cool. So we're almost there, and then I can work out these holes and drill some friggin' holes in that thing and get that sorted, and find a couple of bolts that screw in. I know what they are. They need 1/2 inch 20, so I can probably go find a couple of 1/2 inch 20 bolts somewhere. Dad might even have a couple at home we can screw up there. It don't need to be terribly long. At least that's done then. So yeah, I might have a look for a couple of those tonight if I remember. But anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Well, it's a beautiful, fresh, crisp morning this morning. These sort of ice forming on the road, so it's fairly cold this morning. I said it was about 2.5 degrees below here at the moment when I was driving to work, so it's not real cold, but it's, it's a good nip in the air. Nice little bit of snow over there in the mountains. See if I can zoom in there a bit for you. Hold on. Not sure if I can zoom in or not. Oh, here we go. You can see the little bit of snow over there on top of those hills. mountains, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, it's a little bit crispier this morning. I did decide to have a shave. I think I might have missed a little bit because I can't see much when I take my bloody glasses off. Anyway, we'll get this door down in the shed and we'll get a bit of heat in here. And I'll get fitting the rest of these bits. I went and grabbed a couple of half-inch 20 UNC fine bolts to the bottom of that radiator because I haven't found anything that's the right thread, that's the right sort of length, and amongst the bits and pieces. And I grabbed a whole lot of little short machine screws with some nuts to hold those hood sides on and bonnet sides on that centre hinge, because there was only like 2 or 3 bolts on each side. So I'm not exactly sure how many was there, but I just grabbed 24 because I thought, well, that should be plenty. Give me a couple of spares if I lose one or whatever. But I'm not going to put them all in, but I'll have a count up and see exactly how many I need. So at least I should have plenty there to assemble the car when I'm finished. But I'm going to have to shorten them because they're a bit long, but that's all good. It's all part of the job. So anyway, we'll get in there near the heater and we'll close this bloody door. Get some heat in here until the day warms up a little bit. I've only got the heater set on about 14 degrees C, so well, that's a damn sight warmer than -2 or 3. So anyway, we'll get into it. I'll just show the little. So that's the bolts I grabbed, and grab some of these. They're a bit long, but I'll just chop them down to half or something like that, and yeah, that'll work. But we'll get into it. Well, that was a pretty good guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, 24. That's a pretty good guess. They said, oh, how many do you need? And I said, oh, yeah, about 24 should do it, I think. I didn't count. I just like, oh yeah, there's quite a few holes across there. If I'm short a couple, I can always go back and get more. But yeah, they're obviously way too long. So I'll shorten them up, I don't know, about half that length or something like that for a start off anyway. And so we'll just have to wind a nut on there. And I might make up a little jig or something that I can just sit them on or something like that. And I can just, even if it's out a little bit of timber, just so I can got something to push it up against, and maybe just clamp the end of the screw with a pair of vice grips and just have a spot where I can nick it off with the grinder, and obviously have a nut went on it and clean it up. It'll only take a few minutes, but yeah, there's no point in them being that long. It just looks silly. Eventually we'll get some spring washers or something like that put on there as well, because they didn't have nylocks back in 1925, not that I know of. I guess not. Anyway, we'll get this little job done first.
Oh, what's that size, Dan? That was fairly simple once I worked it out. And they are quite a bit shorter and all about the same length. That's cool. Might just have to dress the threads up a little bit, but should be alright. Simple little easy jig. Just slot the nut, the bolt in, cut it off. Simple. Alright, we'll go fit into the hood. This is a fun job. What are you doing over there? It's one of these little jobs that just takes fucking forever. By the time you trim down the little screws and then shave the little bits off the end so you can actually get the fucking nuts back out and take the nuts off. And then the pretty little bars just to get in. And it's cold-ish. Every fingers are cold and the steel's cold and yeah, it's just a fun little job. It's one of those jobs you think, I'll do that in like 15 minutes. An hour fucking later. Or longer. I ain't not me. By the time the missus rings up, then you go have a piss and yeah. The time runs away with you. Fuck, all I did is put in fucking half dozen fucking bullshit. But anyway. Said the crazy fucking Scotsman. Hey, I'm talking to you, Dave. if you watch it. Oh well. Could be worse. Could be raining outside and it's not. Great. Oh well. I'll call that good enough in the meantime. Sorry about that. I'll throw the pin in there and then we see we get some fucking holes in the tree. Look at the bolts, I think. Hopefully they're not too long. Anyway, we'll throw the side on there, we'll have a final measure up and then we'll call it fucking Tuesday, but it's Thursday. Oh, no, it's Friday. It's Friday, everybody. Shut up, you going mad. Don't tell everybody. Right there. Don't drop the fucking. I don't want to drop my precious little coffee cup. It's a fucking great coffee cup. I think if it had boobs in a one of those things downstairs, I'd probably need to marry it. I probably wouldn't, but you know what I mean. Do I need a sweater? I might need a sweater. Hit the burst, boy. Okay. Radio, we'll get that lower. Oh, see what it's going on. Alright. Fucking get in the hook! What is the hook? Right. Try not to take a shit in your pants. What do we got going on here? All right, let's have a wee looky. Let's fucking stay in the road. Get right on the fucking road. Let's have a wee looky. See if everything lines up there. There's somewhere in that vicinity there, aren't we? Let's have a wee look. Yeah, that's something right, to be honest. We take measure, we don't need measure from the first, we'll just see how we are. You know, go with the groovy thing. Right. So what do we got there? That's 6, 8, 5, 6, 7. That's 68. There. Okay, we're pretty fucking close, aren't we? We're gonna have a fucking beat sticking each other. Look at that fucking American pretty fucking good. Come around there. As long as we got a legal route, well I think we'll be right. Right there, front there. Front to the edge of the guard, edge of the fucking feet. 110. Pretty good. I think that'll do it. I think we'll call that a donkey. I think that we'll do a quickly walk around before I make a final decision, but I think if we're somewhere there's a ballpark, we're not playing golf. I think that looks okay. So we're just trying to get rough, you know, roughly in the ballpark. Looks pretty good down there. It's a reasonably even gap. You know, we got a little jiggle room when we actually assemble the fucking thing for the final time. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe. We might better knock it back a little bit in that corner, but I'll do some final measurements, but maybe just a nice bit of lock that down. Oh, hold on, donkey. What is that sitting square for? When I hook that back, that needs some more shaping, doesn't it? Needs a bit more shape in there. It actually needs pulled down a bit, but just gotta get this right. If it's not right, it's fucking wrong. That looks alright there. That looks okay. Stop moving forward. Need somewhere I fucking hold that steady while we play with that. But somewhere around there. Okay. When we're looking down on top there, I can maybe see we're almost 70 sticking out, looking straight down. We're close. We're really close. I think we're really close. That's a pain in the ass. Stop moving! Yeah, I think if I get that gap nice and even, it's pretty close. It's pretty good. Measured off here before, just across there. It's saying about, I'm measuring roughly to this high spot. Just, yep, let you see that. So we're a sneak over 110 millimeters, or a bit over. We're not quite 4.5 inches. Almost, but not quite. And we're within a bee's fucking dick of that down there too. Oops. You can't see. Look, speak up if you can't see. But we're about that there too. So I think when we get that right, about somewhere between 68 and 70 millimeters or thereabouts over there, I think we'll be within a bee's dick. And then we can just do the final jiggle when we actually assemble one that's got some paint on it and some chrome and all those shiny things already. I'll stop waffling. I think I got the answer to all my prayers so I can mark the fucking hole. Paint. It's for marking sheep, but I'll use it. Let's spray a little bit down the hole. I should go, yeah, it's fucking paint down there. We'll mark the center of that and we'll drill a hole in it. I think we'll call that good. Alright, let's fucking pull this apart again. What are you doing? I think it's just one of those days I'm just losing the fucking butt here. Going crazy. I need somebody fucking talk to, not just the TV screen. Shut up. Oh, Christ. Maybe I ought to get out of lose like this. I don't know if it's insanity or boredom or too much fucking coffee or this is my second one. I normally only had one by the time I got here, but well, I've normally only working on the first one when I got here, but this is my second one. I was up a bit earlier this morning. Maybe that's it. I was up when I was fucking for it. Fucking kids. Alright. So, we'll pull all this crap off. Yeah. We'll see if we can, we'll drill some fucking holes, eh? Fuck it! We'll drill some holes. Oh, you want me to actually do something?
Well, I think it's about that time. Can you guess what it is? might just enlarge those holes a little bit, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room, but pretty much where they need to be. The bolts are a bit long, but I'll get all the sheet metal and everything back on there, and might even just refit the actual radiator in there as well. But I think if I knock this down, at least hopefully I can get those, they're quite nice to be able to get those nuts in there at least, you know, just to help block that down when we put it back together. But if we can't, we can't. But it'd be nice just to have a nut on the other side of it, even if I've got to make them thin nuts or something, just to grab that top of the bolt, just to help lock the bolt in there so it can't rattle out and fall on the ground. But yeah, cool, awesome. Looks good for being bolted down. It's not hard down, but it's hard. It's fairly hard down. Obviously need to shorten the bolts up a touch. They're a little long. That's alright, we can fix that. Depths are reasonable. Nothing seems to be fighting each other. Be nice to put the actual radiator back in there now and just have another wee look. If I pull those bolts out, I'll be shortening them by quite a bit. I might even put a point on them so they're a bit easier just to get started. Right. I might just have to open the holes a little, just so it's got a little bit of wiggle room, but that looks pretty good. Look, it actually moves around at the top, so I think by the time you actually get the radiator in there, it might actually stop that. I think the radiator would actually stop that from flexing, but I can see why they put the cross thing in it later in the next years. But yeah, not cool. That looks good. I wonder if that does need something underneath it. I wonder if it does. Oh, it's pulled down. Mightn't hurt, eh? I might take a little bit off those bolts, but I might just stick a wee bit of rubber underneath them or something. Not that I really want to though, because otherwise it's going to change the centering of that. But I can always lift the motor a little bit too. I can always put some rubber blocks under the motor. I'll sit those pieces back in. Next one. Space under the motor, I think. It might be enough. I might pull some bolts, shorten them a bit. Half an inch or a little bit more off them. Maybe not quite that much, about that much. About half an inch or a touch more. Pack it underneath just to see how this stuff sits. has to have something like that else underneath it. Little strip of rubber underneath there and a couple of little pieces underneath the back. Just to bounce these things out. That's what it needs, that's what it needs. Walk those bolts out. It needs to come up. Oh, it looks like I'm out of time again. So oh God, I can hold my hat. I got this bolted down again. I've lopped the top off. I dropped. It wasn't half an inch. It was probably a little bit over 3/8 of an inch off the tops of those bolts. Perfect. Top of those. I can just get the nuts back on there. We may have to space it up a little bit more yet. I'm not sure. Needs a little bit of jiggling around, so it means it's gonna have some sort of rubber mounting underneath the motor, which is quite good. I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but you really need to put everything together to work that out. Obviously with the hood sides and all that sort of stuff make sure that they sit properly with all the bits in there. And that all the little pieces aren't quite there, but most of it's there. And I could see that it was sitting too low and that was going to push the sides up and all those sorts of things. So it needed to come up at the front. So that means the motor will have to come up to obviously keep that hold centre in the crank centre in that hole in the grill and shell. So yeah, it's gonna have probably a rubber mounting underneath it, something like that, all the way around, I guess. So there's plenty of height to do that, so I don't think it's going to be any problems. So yeah, that'll do for the day. Not sure if I'm going to get here tomorrow, because I want to try and go see my cousin if I can, and see how he's doing before he has he's going to have some radio treatment and some radiation treatment, chemo and whatever else shortly. So I want to see him before he gets into that, just in case he gets really crook and then we can't see him for ages. So I'd like to try and do that this weekend if I can. If not tomorrow, it'll be Sunday, but we probably will go up there. But if I get a chance to come down here for a couple of 3 hours before we head up there, I might do. And try and do a bit more, but that will probably be in the next video again. Because between what I've got today and yesterday, it should be enough for a half reasonable video. I'll try and get them a bit shorter. I know it's hard sometimes. You end up with about 45 or 50 minutes worth of footage by the time you squeeze it down. And you think, do I break it into two? But yeah, like just the way I film, I sort of know that I'm trying to get a couple of days in. So I don't like having them too long, but yeah, it is what it is. So we'll carry on. We'll see you tomorrow, watch the next video, and yeah, carry on. I'll catch you later.